This is Michael in CY Store. Again, day 3 on how we wired the alarm. What happened was we're thinking that the Banjing CDI, since it has a built-in ignition coil, might be the reason why it's not getting the remote start to work. Normally, if you did have it correctly, these are actually just your brake lever indicating you have your left and right brake. One of these are your left or right brake. So when it actually hits the brake lever here, it sends the pulse here that the brake is being held. That way it can actually transfer over the power from the relay of the battery to the starter motor solenoid. So that's right there. It's just a brake and lever, right? That's why you have it here as well. And then also to clarify, that skunk wire also tied to it. You see that skunk wire running through it? That's actually coming to your kill switch right there. So that's all it is. So when you break the line and you put the pink and positive to it, what it does is kind of like, from what APM tells me, it pretty much is like a signal interrupt. So it's not going to have it be able to, turn on the kill switch. So that's what's going to happen when you break the line and put the pink wire and the gray one together. That's what we did here. If you notice here, I kind of wired up neatly now. This is the way I had it. Sorry I didn't get a chance to show you guys how I solder. It wasn't the prettiest anyway, but you remember the idea of what I was about to do. So I did exactly what I said I was going to do. So I took out the leads here. You can see here I backfed it here. So I just pretty much made myself a harness like you would normally have, plug and play one. So it's all the same, except for I didn't use the black wire to go to the ground, which I could have done. That one's probably recommended, but I just tapped it into the same harness. As you can see here, it's kind of busheled in here, but you can see here, and you can see how the pink wire is breaking the line of the skunk wire, that right there. And then you also have the gray wire. It's coming from the other end right there. So that's actually, reconnecting the, pretty much reconnecting the gray wire, reconnecting to the other side of the skunk wire. So it goes through the system first before it goes. So that what the gray wire and the pink wire is going to do is a signal interrupt. You can see here it's feeding it in. So I didn't actually have to mess with this end right here. I just kind of took the gray wire, fed it through this way, and then I had the pink wire loop around from the one that going to the ignition right here. So that's what we did, and then we got power to it, of course. We got our black wire going to our green wire of the alarm, black wire going to our green wire of our ignition housing here, our orange wire going to our actual ignition wire, our red wire is going to the red wire of our ignition harness again, and then we have our yellow wire. Now I found actually a better way to actually get to the lights without having to split it to the R1 here or R right signal left, because if you look at it, there's a light blue wire right there. See that pink? See that green, and then the blue one. The green one's ground. The light blue one is actually your signal pulse for this side, the right side here of your lights. So we got that configured out, and we're able to tap it. I'll show you what I did. So you can see here, this will be for your left-hand side right here. That's why I had it. If you look at the wire here, see it's more like an orange color. So instead of reaching all the way over here, splitting those yellow wires from this side to this side, you can actually type it, and where it goes to your gauge cluster. That's where we tapped it into. If you look at our wires running back here, these orange wires, they're not really going to this main one. They're going through it. So you can see here, I had it tapped right here. So you can see here, it's going through right there. Sorry, can't get a signal here. So it's going to the gauge cluster. See that? It's going to the, see how it's actually connected? You see one of my yellow wires going to the same orange wire, and then one of my other yellow wires tapping with the blue wire. That's the same blue wire on the right hand side of the turn signal. So it works, everything now. I don't even have my gauge cluster on, and it still works. I mounted my alarm on the plastic. I'm regretting mounting this onto the metal, because see what happens here when you mount it on the metal? So I get focus here, look at that. It doesn't really stick too well. So what I'm gonna do, these aren't actually M3, because M3 would not do this. So what I'm gonna do is peel this off and go get some M3 tapes, or M3 cushion, and mount it on a little bit more bare. But it's secure, even though this is not adhesive, it won't stick. You can see here, I still tie strapped it right here, the wires. I pinched the wires into this loop here, right here, out back. You can see it's from the ignition. I think I get focus here. You can see here how it comes back out. That's why I like taking a video outside, because nothing beats natural sunlight lighting. So you can see here, and then it goes to all this wiring connection here to the ignition. Continue on from the ignition to the gauge cluster and everything else. So all the wires are here, and the blue wires, like I said again, these are just your brake lever side. So this one might be even a different color. Let's see. So this is one brake lever here that sends to the solenoid to let you know that you're holding down the brake lever. That orange with red stripe. And then there's the skunk wire for your kill switch again. So let's go and look at this side here. If you look at this side right here, see the colors are not, they're not the same, sorry. So, but one of them is actually, again, from your brake lever again. And you can find out which one it is. I guess do a continuity and maybe a voltage output and see if it actually jumps the voltage when you actually hold the brake lever somewhere on these lines right here. So yeah, you would think this one will be like the same color as here, you know. It would be nice if everything was just consistent, they match. So one of these are for your right brake lever when you hold down, the other one for your left brake lever. So the minute you hold down, the solenoid knows, okay, he's got his brake lever for safety. Let's go ahead and give him the power transfer that he's requesting when you push the start button here. So that's it. So that's why you have to hold down the brake lever and turn on your kill switch. The kill switch is turning on the skunk wire. The brake lever is turning on one of those orange and blue wire. And then the start button here is actuated from this power here. So the start button, again, that's what we're trying to figure out. The blue wire, what we did was, since we have the same continuity here, and by the way, the brake wire are joined together. So these lines are here, either one of them, they're actually connected somewhere, some along the line. And what we did was we joined the blue wire, the same to the gauge cluster has like a 3-pin. You can see we put the blue wire right in here. See that? So we tap the blue wire into sort of like a, it looks like a yellow, let's see here. It looks like more like a, yeah, sorry, I kind of taped my, because I didn't want to show you my ugly solder job. But it's good contact there. But yeah, it's connected to that green. There you go. See a little bit of it. Sorry. You can see a little bit of it. That green and yellow wire right there. Green. So let's say green with yellow stripe, right? You see that? It's joined with the blue wire, and it's just a 3-prong here. And the other wires were sort of like white and yellow, which I don't know. And then they have a blue wire here. Again, that goes to the gauge cluster. So these 3 wires, and this one where I tap my light at, that goes to the gauge cluster. And then all the power and the orange ignition wire and interrupt signal wire that's breaking the skunk wire, that's coming all from our, pretty much our ignition harness right here. So there you go. Let's see if I can get it in here. That's coming from our ignition harness. Sorry, that was wavy. So what happens when I try to take this for a test run, I need a GoPro. You can see that's coming from our ignition wire right here. So I haven't really opened the back of the ignition wire to see what it is, but it doesn't seem that hard to open. So there you go, and it runs down. So you can see here, these are the color wires again for the brake lever. Once it actuates and knows it's pushed and held on, they'll be able to kick the relay on. Again, something with our banding, for some reason someone had a plug and play harness. Only thing he different was he had the same scooter as mine, his Zenon model, DC fired stator, and when he replaced his stock CDI, you know, it's still DC CDI, and it stopped working his remote starter. So he knew now from the Rego that it actually has to do with the banding somehow. It's reconfiguring the ignition coil because it has a built-in. It's not the external one you mount here and you have a separate wire going to your cylinder head with spark boot like that. It's already one piece here. You can see here is the yellow wire there. It comes in and it plugs right into the banding CDI. So the CDI, I guess, is probably not compatible with getting the remote start to work. One thing downfall about remote start, I heard they actually draw a lot of battery anyway. But you know, when your system is cranked over and charged, I think it shouldn't be too problem. So again, another thing is I actually reviewed the video back and was trying to figure where the smoke was coming from. So it's probably not coming from our cylinder head. More than likely, it's probably coming from our exhaust. If that's the case, then it's an easy fix. We just tighten the exhaust a little. Right now, I just put the scooter up here. I haven't started this morning, so let me go ahead and put this camera right below it and see if we can actually get a good angle where the exhaust is and see how it fires up when I first started. I'll have to chase the dog away because he'll probably want to start attacking the scooter. So let me try my best here. Get this angle because we're just focusing on that exhaust port right there. And another way you could test it also to see if you have like an issue with the exhaust leaking, you just put a tissue or a paper towel, you know, a shop rag that you throw away or something, and then we can see if it blows away. So let me go and bring a little tissue or something. There we go. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna put a little tissue right here where the exhaust is, and we're gonna see if it actually blows. Well, if you want to do double check, I actually want to do it first when you can actually see the smoke more clear. So let's just focus on, I'm going to crank the engine over and we're going to see where that exhaust is coming out. There you go. Kill switch is on. Turn on to P position. 1, 2, 3. Hey, go, go. Kill switch is off now. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a test now where we actually have the blow pack. Go. Go. Okay, here we go. We're gonna put this on here like this. And now the exhaust right away, you can see it's getting a very hot point. Go. All right, here we go. Gotta wrestle with the dog too at the same time showing you this video. Okay, let me go ahead and put this. Oh, it's hot. It's already hot. You can see it's only been less than 20 seconds. So we're going to do the tissue test and see if it blows on the tissue when we start it. Let me see if I can get a good apron on that one. I'm gonna come around here, give it a good sort of. I guess maybe I could try to tie it a little bit. Anyway, we're just trying to see if air is leaking from the exhaust. Okay, see if it blows, okay? You want to just keep it steady in there like that. Okay, we're going to start it up again. 1, 2, 3. Smoke is coming out. Out! There we go. So you can see here, it's going to poof. So the tissue somewhat blew it out, but I'm not too knowing yet. But you can see here a little mark indentation here. Maybe it's a little bit more than just the tissue. So let's see what we have. I don't want to use my zoom in feature because again it's gonna make the whole film kind of retro looking. Okay, so here we go. So let me see if I can get underneath it more. It didn't really blow the tissue too much, but let's see where else that smoke is coming from. Let's go and see if I can put it right here. This is a good top level view, huh? Wait till it gets solid there. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna see from the bottom of it. 1, 2, 3. Out. Okay, so I'm not sure. I don't see the really tissue blowing it. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go do a tight test to make sure. I think it just kind of fell down on its own a little bit. So let me see if it's actually still blowing it right now. Hold down this one right here. Okay, so yeah, I kind of shook it down. That's due for vibration. I'm not sure how it really blows, but that's probably vibration. So anyway, we're gonna torque it down a little bit more. I think recommended torquing. Again, this will be probably like your cylinder head. You're gonna go about maybe 12, 13 foot-pounds. So equivalent to about maybe 175 or even up to 180 inch-pounds. Okay, so let me go ahead and get the torque thing that make sure we're actually torqued all the way to spec. So get an adapter for it. Gonna take a little bigger socket. Okay, so we're gonna set this to the maximum. This will torque to 16 inch-pounds. I mean 60. Yeah. The maximum this will go to is about equivalent to 200 inch-pounds. So we're looking at about close to about maybe the most. I think maybe around 16 foot-pounds. So we're gonna go ahead and set our torque to the appropriate. I'm gonna spin it up a little bit. Again, it's M12 bolt, so it's gonna take a little bit more torque. I think when we adjusted the exhaust a little bit to lower and open it, because remember I changed the exhaust gasket. Not this point, but I mean the muffler gasket, so it might have moved it a little bit. So we're gonna just go and retighten to make sure that's secure. I don't feel a loss of power when I'm driving. I think it has to do with my roller weights. I can almost feel like my roller weights are spinning before it actually grips. The clutch is engaged to grip the wheel. So that's probably has something to do with tuning my CVT. Now David, the Tata expert, he recommends that maybe put some 12 grams and the compression big spring, maybe get to about maybe 1500 the yellow springs RPM, and even 1000 blue springs for the clutch springs. So right now the NCY comes with the red springs of 2000. I put the compression springs of 2000. Maybe that's why it doesn't engage fast enough until it reaches 2000, giving it more torque. Okay, so we're gonna do about maybe 180. So we're gonna do about 175. Bye, Mop Mop. Okay, about 175 here. Okay, so we're gonna do about 175 torque, and we got our 12mm socket back in there. So let's give it a good spec of torque here. Oh, we might need extension. I'm not sure. Kind of weird angle now. Let's see. Let's see if I can go and get the extension as well. Yeah, we're gonna need the extension. That won't work without one. Okay, we'll put the extension on top of the extension. Okay, there we go. We got the extension on top of the change of extension. The reason why it's made for a smaller one, usually they don't really torque anything higher than 16 foot-pounds, so that's why most sockets will fit. Okay, so here we go. Righty-tighty, 1, 2, 3. Make sure it's there. There we go. I hear click, I think. No. Actually, that's a click from the exhaust being tightened further. So let's go ahead and do this some more on this side. There we go. There it goes, clicking. I think we can go a little bit higher now. It feels like a little bit more that we can probably put on. I don't put blue Loctite on it, but you can do vibration. Speaking of vibration, I lost the drain bolt for the carburetor on the bottom end because I thought I had it pretty much securely, but I guess not. So yeah, vibration on these GY6 engine does do a number on losing your parts. So you definitely want to blue Loctite most things if you can possible. So I'm going to go up to a little bit about 190 now. You can see here it was 175 before. Now we're going to go do 190. Okay, so there we go. Righty tighty, still the same. Get into a good lock position or angle position. Okay, here we go. Turn. There we go. That's still kind of, see, the 190 is still okay. All right, let's just go all the way up to 200. 200 is the maximum we can go, which is about almost 16 foot-pounds. So we're zeroing it in almost. There we go. Okay, 16 foot-pounds. Let's see if this will torque. So that torque was already set to about, you know, probably 14 or 15 inch-pounds. So that's now this 16. There we go. See, it's still clicking. So that's good. That's what we want. We want to make sure it's nice and tidy. There we go. That's tight. All right, so let's start this up and actually see if it still has any kind of blow effect. Now, the vibration, don't get confused. It can still move your tissue. But what you really want to see if it actually blows the tissue. So we're going to put it up like this again. Now, I was recommended by this idea from Tom, the parts guy. There we go. Okay, so I got it tucked in there pretty neatly. So let's go and fire this up again and see. Get a resolution there for you to make sure. Done. All right, the dog looked like he's leaving us alone. I guess he got used to it, seeing this is a machine and not another animal in competing. So you can see here, it's not really blowing anything. I guess, have you seen any smoke come out? I didn't yet. So let me try to do it again and monitor the smoke from this side now. So I guess maybe we solved the issue. Maybe just need to retighten the exhaust a little bit. Kind of ruined the fun because I was hoping to change the cylinder head. I would have to actually drop the swing arm right here. See the swing arm bolt right above that stator. And well, that's not swing arm, sorry, that's the actually engine holder. So when you got that out, it's, you know, pull out to the side a little bit. You have to take all this assembly off the swing arm as well. It's a little bit more work, but it's probably half an hour if you know what you're doing. And if you don't, you'll probably be fiddling around for half the day. So here we go. Let's go and fire this up again and see what's going on with it. I also want to take the spark plug and inspect it again because I did take it out dry for a day. Gotta tell you a funny incident. Police pulled me over. I don't see the smoke coming out too much in that area. Maybe because I got covered with the tissue. So let me take the tissue back off now so we can actually see her. Yeah, the police pulled me over because I didn't have the housing of my tail light reflectors on. And he didn't notice it until he actually pulled me closer, and he goes, "Oh, okay, I do see it now, and you are registered, you got your license plate." But he also was on the bike. But the people there in front of me, you know, I'm about to make a left turn, and they have, you know, the right of way going forward against the opposite traffic of me, and they stopped, and I was wondering why they're stopping, right? And I don't have my gauge cluster on or nothing, right? And I know my signal works because, you know, I hear my blinker, but I turned around to my back, and there was a cop, and he was in a motorcycle, and he said something to me. He goes, "They think they're waiting for us." I was hoping that he just said they're waiting for him only, but us mean I got pulled over. So I got pulled over yesterday at the shopping center, and I was about to show him my insurance and everything. He was just really like kind of nonchalant. He just wants to make sure that, first of all, he thought, like, you know, he thought, is it even legal while I'm driving, because he didn't know what it was. I told him I'm still working tuning and everything, and I kind of played down on it because he asked me what CC it was. I told him it's 150 cc. He goes, "You need a motorcycle license for that, right?" And I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe, I guess I do. And trying to shrug it off. I know he wasn't sure himself, even though he drove the motorcycle police thing. I think he had like scooters or motorcycle, I can't remember now. But he just said, yeah, the reason I stopped you off because you didn't have reflectors on your bulbs like these ones right here, see? And they're supposed to reflect about 50 feet away or something like that. Or I don't think it's 50 yards, but 50 feet away. So I'm gonna probably have to install that right away if I can use a scooter. I could probably mount my Gibby and get that, because that is a built-in reflector and does have the signal lights and everything. But you could think this would be enough sufficient, right, reflector. But the signal lights, yeah, I can see why it tucked in here. So when I hit the signal light, watch, see here, you know, it's kind of covered there, so you can only barely see a little bit of it. And then the right side as well. But the brake light shouldn't be a problem. And I was driving this time of day anyway. There you go. You can see my license plates too, from Cali. See there? So that means I probably, if I installed a Gibby, I probably would have got away with it, because the Gibby already had that built-in reflector inside of it for the signal lights and the turn signal. But on the front, there should be no problem here, because, you know, either reflector he's talking about, put the shield back on where it amplifies the light. But I think he was just trying to pull over to be curious of what my scooter was driving. He thought it was something like one of those cheapy scooters or something that I got from the mail or something. I put it together and not even safe for road. But I told him, no, it's a real scooter. I took it apart just to, I didn't want to, you know, boost all these aftermarket off-road parts to them. So I just kind of played it off and said, yeah, it's just a 150, you know, probably 149. And, you know, and he asked me if it was gas or electric. I told him it was gas. You know, it's obvious that I have a gas tank behind there. But, you know, nowadays people don't even realize what you have anymore. Because I think you get away with it if it's electric. You don't have to worry about all the registration and stuff like that. But I guess it checked out okay. He didn't really care to see my, you know, insurance that I had here. I was about to show it to him. No, he was just kind of nonchalant, just let it go. So I was about to whip out my insurance, show it to him, and he just pulled away. He's just like, okay, that's it. I guess he wants to make sure that, you know, I put the back plate soon, because he thought, like, where's the other part of the bike? I thought, like, hey, man, what if I said it was my style? You know, I want to make it look like exposed or something. So that's it for right now. We got that part taken care of. We're about to install the mounts, because I want to take care of the mounts now. So bought a whole bunch of Allen screws and bolts here. You can see a ton of them. What kind we have. So we're probably gonna replace some of these little, I guess they're kind of probably part of like the seating area and stuff like that, the little small screws. And we'll probably replace with these ones. These ones have the built-in like nylon washers into them. They lock down, you know, in addition to Loctite, of course. You might not even need Loctite, but still have. And these ones are for like the black areas. You can see here they're Allen bolts as well. Put some of those guys in there. Next up on our list, I'm not sure. These are more like the flathead one. Yeah, I'm sorry. This one's more, like you can see here, it's like a bump round. So for certain applications, this might work, and this one's for like a flush black area. So we might take this. This is the flush one. I think this will work. Yeah, I think so. I think this is the same screw that we could probably replace these Phillips here, the black ones, or they're sort of posing. We'll replace them with these guys right here. You can see they're more like flat, and then they still have a little slope in them. So I think these dig in like a little slope too as well. And then we could probably maybe, I don't think we can, but we could probably use it for some of these parts here like this. They're replacing these, you know, green bolts. We're gonna get all into it, and then we'll make sure we'll secure everything down, Loctite it, put silicone in these areas to help with rubber support it so it doesn't fall loose. Now, speaking of falling loose and vibration, you can see here what happens here. I lost this screw. Like there, look, it's gone completely. Does that suck or what? Anyway, it's the scooter will still function with it. It's more like a drain bolt, and some people use that for adjustment and so forth. And we're gonna go ahead and take the scooter down. We're gonna might as well change the jet on it, because I've been driving this for a week now and testing this out. and I feel like it just needs a lot more tune up. It needs a better roller weight and maybe a lesser engaging clutch spring. Maybe the 2000 is fine, but we'll see how I do with the roller weights first. We'll probably change that to like David, Tata Expert recommended, maybe about 12 grams, and then we'll see how we go from there. In the meantime, let me go and show you all the other screws that we got. We got a big tube of dielectric grease. Speaking of which, we're also going to take care of all the rust. I didn't show you this though, but you definitely want to catch it before it gets spread out. You can see here the rust on the gas tank. You know, I removed it all I can, the old paint. It's still fresh, so there's no rust at all. But if you leave it like that, oxidation and everything like that, eventually when it builds rust, it's going to be way harder. You see here, luckily there's no rust. It's just paint that protected for, but it was just cheap paint. You know, they put like the cheapest coating. So I'm going to sand it down with some grit sandpaper, maybe about, you know, 250 or 100. A smaller number. Actually, the smaller number, the more grain they are. The higher the number, the finer grain they are. I can't remember which one. I know it's reversed though. So I'm going to sand it with some really good sandpaper to get it smoothly. See some of these areas right here. You know, there shouldn't be rust like that, so we're going to go and sand it down. Same thing here. Oh, there, and then we're going to go and use like sort of like a brush pen or something like that. And you can, I got one that matches sort of as like a gloss white, and we'll go and touch on it. Not really too mad on that, but I just want to make sure the protection is there in case you know, it gets wet. You can see there's some more rust there we got to take care of. So the other thing, we might even have to cut these guys off that we're not using. They're just rusty because rust can spread, and you don't want rust to build up anywhere. Now I was thinking of taking the CVT cover off. That way when I tune it, I can change things easier. You know, it's going to expose the belt a little bit. I won't need the CVT gasket. You know, that's why a lot of people put ankle biters and everything. You can see here what I did here is I actually put some foam in here. Now these aren't just regular foam. They're like I think they're fuel filter foam, so they're tolerant to heat and flames. So you can see here I put some on the bottom here as well. You can push it out a little bit almost. So I just put that there to protect, you know. And so far it stayed, even throughout the vibration, through the wind. I'm surprised it stayed. I cut it perfectly enough where it won't break out. And the same thing with here. This one usually has a boot like a nozzle, but I covered that up. I believe I might cover this up too, but if not, then yeah, I didn't probably cover it up. So yeah, those are things we're probably going to work on. We're going to put at that little, what do you call that? Little wing support for our Gibby case, because over time, I think I can't even close my Gibby case without helping to support this, because I'm afraid this will crack one day. So I'll probably have to go and get that brace put in here. This is the brace again. We're settling on the most expensive one, FTR one. This is probably the one that's gonna, and it's actually a true 11mm. So we got two of these guys here. Now we're gonna have to do some rethreading because these are bigger. They're more like a, I guess maybe a M8 thread size versus what we currently have here is M6. So I bought some of these as well to try to make those studs there possible so we can mount it. And this will give me a little bit more support when I push down on the Gibby lid. It's not going to put so much pressure on this one hard, it's like, you know what I mean? It just feels like not even solid metal, but it feels like hard ceramic or plastic of some sort, but it's stiff. It's the same thing on this one. It feels like the same material used in this one right here. And you know, when I open it up, you can see it, but yeah, the exhaust is good. It's an open exhaust, so there's going to be quite a bit more airflow coming out. You know, it's probably maybe not designed perfectly for performance yet. With the right tuning, we might be able to get it to it. But normally you can see your stock exhaust, they regulate it for your scooter, for EPA and stuff like that, you know, emission control and everything, so they have to follow certain rules. And they also try to design it for, you know, performance too, if you're talking about the most expensive kind of scooters and stuff like that, bikes. But these ones, I doubt it, so you might as well just stick an aftermarket one and then get one tuned up to the way you like it. Mainly for off-road use only. So yeah, I'm gonna have to extend this a little bit further, and then that way I can reach this one to here. So here we go. Yeah, so mainly it has to do with getting the right bolt size. So these are the bolts that actually drive from the very top with the two layers of, remember, the plastics that actually hold the original stock case. And then we have another one layered as a Gibby case. So these are the one that are actually gonna drive. In fact, let me show you where those plastics are. So right here, so we're gonna need a different size. See these ones? This is more like an M6, very thinner, and it will actually go through in here, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to rethread. The plastic rethreading is easy because, you know, you can force plastic to shape anything you want, but the bolt in there we're gonna have to like maybe pop out. That shouldn't be too hard. So here we go. These are the plastic Gibby ones. that are layered. So you can see here, this is where we have to go through to multiple layers. So we gotta go like this right here. You got one here, and then you got one here, right? So it's almost a good, probably like, sorry, this is upside down. But this is what it would have been. So that, the reason why we had to put this here was this gives it a flat surface for us to work with the Gibby one, because the Gibby one doesn't have that groove. So that's why we had to layer this one first, because it had a little bit of a triangle. See there? And then we layer it on here. And then we could put this right on top of it. But you can see here, this pies up like almost I say about almost 2 inches. So that's why this one right here, it doesn't go through all the Gibby one. But again, the Gibby one pops up where you can layer it inside the little waffle there. And this protects it from going through. I guess you can call it your, I don't know what they call it, you know, washer that protects most of the surface. So you can see here, and then this goes all the way to the bottom here. So this one, rethreading is easy. You can force it. I mean, with a little power drill, you can chisel some of it. I guess it is like aluminum, because you can see here some of the chisel mark there. See that? So it actually probably is a solid piece of aluminum, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that shouldn't be hard to rethread at all, and then we'll just put another washer in. But the idea is that we don't want to force it just to hold and clamp straight on this aluminum. So we want something metal on metal. So we're gonna probably put another one of these in the middle of it, just a bolt, before it reaches this one. The purpose of this one is not to actually secure it in the thread. It's just to give it that reinforcement hold from bending down. That's it. This is the only job of this $61 pair solid aluminum parts. Not stainless steel, it's just solid aluminum, and it does feel good. And there's another two right here. I mean one, so it completes the whole set. So we're gonna put one here, and then one going to the other bolt right here. Now I wish these were actually right here on the solid part, but that's okay. This is pretty strong enough already. I mean, it'll be able to tolerate when you have two. And the weight of it, I don't think we'll put more than probably 50 pounds of torque every time we force it closed. It might be the maximum 50 pounds, but if we don't, you know, you're still looking at only 25 pounds of weight. And on a daily ride where this bounces up and down like this, it'll help support this, I guess, aluminum or ceramic till. So we'll find out. This is why I bought this, because I need to actually, let's see, I try to get matched the color, but I think I have it somewhere in here. There we go. These are, there we go. Let's see what the washers are called, the big fat one. They're called penny fender washers. There we go. Where they cover more of the space. You can see here, not like your normal washer where it just fits the bolt, sort of. But this one looked like it dispersed the area of surface a little bit more better, especially in this situation. Well, this one has a hump, so we can't use a penny washer too much on this one. But on the inside where there's the waffle here, no problem at all. We can use plenty of the penny washer here to make sure that it doesn't go through these waffles. So we'll put that back here. Actually, it's more secure on this guy because it doesn't teeter-tot.